Is marriage for everyone? I didn't originally plan on starting with this question, but again, the more I looked into it, and the more I studied, I just felt like this was the place to begin. And I'm going to begin with Islam, and then we'll go to Christianity. I've got several hadiths for you that put forth the Islamic view. But of course, I'm not saying that you will not find contradictory hadiths somewhere, and neither would it surprise me. This is the problem with Islam, right? I mean, there's wherever you look for something and try to teach on a subject like this, you're always going to find something somewhere that contradicts what you just said. This is not our problem; it's their problem. And of course, Muslims can pick and choose what they believe, or they can deny certain hadiths in the public by saying those are not sound or sahih. Not my problem. This is the Sunnah, or the model of conduct based on the words and actions of Muhammad. You can go to sunnah.com and find every one of these that I have in my presentation. I will say that I have tried my best to use Bukhari whenever possible, just because Bukhari is the most authoritative Sunni hadith that there is. I've got some others mixed in here with it, but whenever possible, I tried to use Bukhari. There's just so much information out there. Muslims want to lecture us about different denominations or question what the early church believed. They want to highlight some of the heretical beliefs in the early church, but Muslims have the same problem. They have the same problem today. At least we worked it out. I mean, at least at least we can point back to the scriptures and what's never changed. I mean, it took us a little while to work out some of the problems that people were having with the doctrine of the Trinity and some other doctrines, but we did work it out. So, if we look at the Hadith, this first one here, you'll find the answer to why. Why should a man marry? This is in Sahih Bukhari 5090. And I begin with this hadith because I think it sets the stage for everything that follows. It says, the Prophet said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. This is really not funny because there are people all over the world who are suffering the consequences of these hadiths that I'm going to read to you. The Prophet said a woman is married for four things: her wealth, her family status, her beauty, and her religion. So you should marry the religious woman, otherwise you will be a loser. This is what one Christian apologist called marriage according to Disney. I often talked about the gospel according to McDonald's, but this is marriage according to Walt Disney, or at least Disney today. But long before Walt Disney, Bukhari spoke of the self-centered desires of a man. And I want you to notice, first of all, that he says a woman is married for four things. So there's really no consideration here as to what the woman might desire in a marriage. This hadith is about why a man would want to marry a woman. And Bukhari gives four reasons: wealth, her family status, her beauty, and her religion. Secondly, I want you to notice that all four characteristics of a good Muslim wife, they're just self-centered. They're focused on the flesh. They're focused on the physical world. They have nothing whatsoever to do of reciprocal love for each other. This is very similar to the first reason I gave you, but I want to highlight just the self-centeredness here, the inward focus. And I think this goes back to what I started with. The love of Allah is conditional, and therefore Islam puts forth this view of marriage that is conditional. If she has money, if her family is important, if she's beautiful, and she's a Muslim. Now, of course, Lord willing, we're going to see later that non-Muslims are fair game as well. But this hadith describes why a Muslim man would want to marry. Here's another one from Sunan Ibn Majah, 1846. It answers our question: is marriage for everyone. It has Muhammad saying that marriage is part of my sunnah, and whoever does not follow my sunnah has nothing to do with me. Get married. For I will boast of your numbers before the nations. Whoever has the means, let him get married, and whoever does not, then he shall fast, for it will diminish his desire. Now, we're going to see here in a few moments that this hadith just blatantly contradicts the Bible. Muhammad says, if you're burning with desire for a woman and you don't have the means to get married, you should fast. That'll help you. 1 Corinthians 7 is the passage that we're going to look at again here shortly. Paul says it is better to marry than to burn with passion. And these are God-given desires. We're designed in such a way that we need certain things. And of course, there's always, or not always, but sometimes there's exceptions. But for now, I want you to notice that Muhammad's advice is just simply to distract yourself. He's just replacing one God-given desire for another. You're burning with passion for a spouse, then don't eat for a little while. You'll forget about it. It's just sad. Here's what this reminded me of. This C.S. Lewis quote, and here you have a quote from Mere Christianity, and Lewis is talking about how what I've just said. God has designed creation for a certain end or telos. He's designed us in a specific way. And here's the quote. He says, the Christian says, creatures are not born with desires unless satisfaction for those desires exists. A baby feels hunger. Well, there's such a thing as food. A duckling wants to swim. Well, there's such a thing as water. Men feel sexual desire. Well, there is such a thing as sex. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. So often the problem is we're not looking for that other world. We're easily distracted for what's right in front of us. We're easily distracted by the desires of the flesh, whether they be money, social status, a beautiful woman who believes like we do. But again, don't misunderstand me. All of these things can be a blessing from God, of course, that Muhammad lists. But we desire things in their proper order. Jesus says in Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you. Earthly pleasures were never meant to satisfy, but instead they point us to another world. They point us to the greatest good, the greatest pleasure, and of course that is a relationship with God Himself.